All right, so today is Wednesday, October 14th. We did not do an end-of-day review yesterday, so I'm going to cover both days today. This is the process of translating your performance at the end of each day into your personal trading plan. And the personal trading plan is the tool that we developed for you to use as a personal financial forecast for your trading business. So interesting results yesterday and today. Take a look at our two primary categories where we're trading from 9:30 to noon, all signals, or we're trading from 7 to 4, the trend bias and continuation signals. Yesterday, we were up 25 points, 9:30 to noon. Very solid, very strong performance. Today, we're up 15 points. Again, very solid, very strong performance. We've had a nice run of 4 days here, some pretty solid numbers. In the trend bias continuation signal category, where we're trading from 7 to 4, yesterday we were up 51 points, and today we're up 3.25 points. Now, what's interesting, just kind of as a little footnote here, we emphasize all the time, I hear Aaron, and when Michael's in the room, he says the same thing. It's important to know, based on your personal trading plan, what your goal is for the day. And if you're at your goal or exceeding your goal, you might want to consider pausing your trading. And if you want to continue to learn, shift to a sim mode and a sim trade. And so yesterday was a really great example, demonstration of that. In the category of 7 to 4, where we had 56 points. We had 56 points if we traded 7 to 7 to, sorry, if we, sorry, we had 56 points from 7 to 12, okay? 7 to 12, taking all signals. 7 to 12 was 56 points. But if you traded all the way until 4 o'clock, it ended up being 1 point. So if you're someone who starts early, you like to take all of the signals, 7 to 4, or 7 to 12 yesterday was 56 points. Now, I don't know very many people in our community who are looking for more than 56 points of profit. If you hit 30 points, you hit 35 points. Some of you have a 20 or 25 point target. If you hit that target yesterday and you stopped, you're probably delighted because you would have given a lot back, most all of it back, if you traded later in the day. That's not always the case. That's not always the case. However, that's why we really encourage you to use the personal trading plan. It is the smartest way for you to assess where you stand at any given point in time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and translate these numbers into our personal trading plan. So we did 25 points yesterday and 15 in our 9:30 to noon, and we did 51 points yesterday and 3.25 today in our 7 to 4 trend bias and trend continuation. I'm going to pull up the personal trading plan, and we're going to start with our 9:30 to noon category. This is the process that every one of you should go through at the end of your day. Sometimes some people will just do it all at the end of the week. I think it's effective to do it every single day, just to spend 3 or 4 minutes plugging the information in and assessing what your forecast is. So yesterday, 25 points. It's $20 a point when you're trading the NASDAQ 100 futures, which is what we are. And we're trading 3 contracts. So yesterday is 1,500 of profit. And we had 12 trades at 3 contracts each. So that's 36 contracts. And today was 15 points. 15 times $20 per contract, $20 per point per contract is $300, times 3 contracts is $900. And 9 trades yesterday times 3 is 27 contracts. Okay? Now, I'm going to plug in all the numbers here, and then we're going to come back and do an analysis on both time frames. So yesterday, we did 51 points on our trend bias and continuation trades only. And that's at $20 a point times 3 contracts. It's $3,060. And yesterday we did 17 trades, 3 contracts per trade, 51 contracts. And today we did just 3.25 points of profit times $20 a point times 3 contracts is $195 of profit today. And we did 14 trades, 3 contracts per trade, 42 contracts today. Okay, so we're going to start with our, let's start with our 9:30 to noon category. So once we've plugged in our performance data, in this case, we plugged in the last 2 days, today and yesterday, we're going to go up and we're just going to take a quick scan at these 4 numbers up here. This is telling me that we've had 25 losing days out of 14 and a half weeks. 25 losing days out of 14 and a half weeks. Now, when we first start the personal trading plan, you haven't logged any data, it's your first day of trading. The trading plan assumes a loss run rate of approximately 1 day every 5 days. And then beyond that, our calculations are going to interpret what the actual frequency rate of losses is versus the original plan. So we have a slightly greater frequency rate of losses in this category than what we had originally planned. We should really only have 14 to 15 losses right now based on 14 and a half weeks, but we have 25. All right, so that is what it is. And what we then look at are these numbers where this is the average rate of return, right? Average point production for our winning days. And this is our average point production for our losing days. These numbers factor in the frequency rate. So some folks have suggested that perhaps we need to increase our assumption of losing days to 2 days or 3 days every 5 days. But those are fixed numbers. We start with a fixed number, which is 1 day every 5 days. And then from there, our calculations are able to incorporate what the actual frequency rate is, which is a variable that was likely to continue to change throughout a 52-week period. So we now know that our winning days are averaging 22.32, and we're going to translate that information down to our forecasted numbers. So these numbers are what our actuals are to date, and these numbers are what we're going to use as our forecast going forward for the balance of our 52-week financial plan. So 22.32, and then we're going to lower our loss assumption from 37.81 to minus 36.78. All right, so now we have future forecast numbers that are based identically on the actual to-date run rate. So regardless of whether you feel like you've performed at your optimum level, however you have performed, those numbers are being carried forward for the balance of a 52-week period, and they get adjusted a little bit every day based on what the numbers look like. But if you could replicate what you've done to date going forward for the next 38 weeks, 37 and a half weeks, then we have a reasonable assumption of what our income could be over that 52-week period. So staying with a maximum number of contracts of 3, we have $157,000 forecasted income for a 52-week period. And that's having started with $5,000 in the account. And that makes an assumption also that the number of contracts that we're trading are based on the margin requirement for those contracts being less than 10% of the balance of our account. And then I can also limit it beyond that to say, limit it to a maximum of whatever number I choose. And in my case, I've chosen to limit it to 3 contracts. So once I don't talk about this very often, but once I've plugged all my data in, I lock in the contract override column the number of contracts that were traded that day, so that if in the future I change this variable, say from 3 contracts to 6 contracts, so that I could see what the total income might be over 52 weeks, it will not change all of the numbers that are already behind us, everything that has made up our run rate. So I'm going to leave that at 3. Of course, that is a variable that you can change to align yourself to whatever goal you have for your 12-month, 52-week income forecast. So now I would expect that, and it's reasonable to expect that there will be differences between different scenarios. We're profiling and demonstrating for you how to most effectively use the personal trading plan. And we do that by comparing a 9:30 to noon category to a 7 to 4 category, by comparing an all signals category to trend bias and trend consensus, trend continuation category only. And this is where, as you gain a little bit more experience with your trading, you'll decide what time frame works for you, what method works for you. But I'm just showing you an example of how the personal trading plan can work and what it may look like with a couple different variables. So we already have our numbers plugged in, and we see that we have a loss run rate of 16 days for every 14 and a half weeks, reasonably close to that 1 per every 5 days, but slightly different. And that's why incorporating that frequency rate into our average run rate calculation is a better approach than trying to define one fixed loss value per every X number of days. So 33.27 is our average winning day. So 33.27, that now looking forward assumes 33.27 winning days, points per winning day on our forecast. And our losing days, 24.65 minus 24.65. And there you go. So now our forecast going forward for another 37 and a half weeks is based on what our actual run rate has been. If we limit our exposure to no more than 3 contracts, we have about a $331,000 income potential. And again, I want to lock my contracts in the contract override column so that anytime I play around with, well, what if I decided I was willing to trade 10 contracts? It's not going to change anything that's already behind me. And you know that it would only trade 10 contracts if there was enough capital in the account to justify the margin for 10 contracts and make sure that it is less than 10% of the balance of the account. So just as a, for instance, 10 contracts, $500 of margin per contract, $5,000, we would need $50,000 in the account in order to have the personal trading plan present to us a 10 contract value. And so we have plenty of that. So you can play around with the number of contracts and certainly set a maximum at whatever you are most comfortable with. And I'm going to leave that at 3 because I think that that's a really strong number, having started with $5,000 and potentially with no guarantee or no certainty. We're way early in a 52-week period, but potentially we have a $331,000 income, which I think is pretty darn strong for your commitment of time, your commitment of effort, your commitment to your personal trading business, your commitment to learning and using the adaptive entry system and the live trading room, letting us help you through this process of being able to generate an income for yourself. Many people are looking for an income to supplement what they already do. Many people, more and more people we're finding are looking for an income to replace something that they used to do pre-pandemic, and or that income was decreased through no fault of their own. So people are looking for a way to add some income into their personal life, their family, and we're just delighted that we get to help you do that. So just let us know what we can do for you. One last thing, we'll jump over and we'll take a look at the averages. So in the categories that I'm talking about, where it's all signals 9:30 to noon, we now have 87 trading days behind us where we've tracked the detail of every single trade throughout that time frame. And we're averaging $351 a day, $351 a day based on trading one single contract. During that period of time, there have been 22 losing days. So it's the losing days that always tend to interfere with traders' emotional stability, emotional health, And we're hoping that tools like the personal trading plan will help guide you through that. Tools like this amazing automated historical detail tracking database that Aaron has created for us will help you understand that you stay the course. That's the best course of action. 75.2% of all of your trades are winning trades. Once again, I can't guarantee what it's going to be like going forward. I can tell you what the history has been, and this isn't just an automated program that looks back at history and doesn't take into account any real world variables. We're taking into account real world variables every day in our live trading room as we trade these trades, right along with announcing them to those folks in our community who are in our live trading room, as well as then recording them in our tracking tool. Our other category, 7 to 4, trading the trend bias and continuation signals, is averaging $616 per day. That's based on a single contract. If you wanted to trade 2 contracts, obviously you double that. You wanted to trade 10 contracts, obviously that's a much bigger number. You're starting to approach like $120,000 a month. So the numbers can be fairly sizable when you really get into a flow of feeling confident with the adaptive entry system signals, and you get into a flow of understanding your personal trading plan and how to set goals for yourself. This is no longer just a game that people show up and say, hey, I'm going to try to trade. I'm going to take a few trades. Up, I won, I lost, and bragging to all your friends about this one big trade that you made that you won a bunch of money on, but not telling anybody about the trades that you lost on. This is now redefining your role relative to the market, and in this case, relative to the NASDAQ 100 futures. It's redefining your role as being a small business owner. You own a business that is focused on trading the market. Now, the cool thing about this business is you don't have a sales team, you don't have a fleet, you don't have sales and marketing, you don't have any employees, you don't have customer service, you don't even need clients, you don't need anything. All you need is a computer, you need an internet connection, you need some place to trade effectively. And then I'd say too, you need some investment in learning, which we help you provide. You also need an investment in support, which the live trading room is a great resource for that. And you need an investment in the tools in order to generate profit for your small business. That's the adaptive entry system, which is, in my opinion, second to none and able to consistently produce profits for you. So it's pretty phenomenal way to think about trading. It's a business, and yet it requires very little from you other than your investment in the tools that you need to be successful, your investment in the capital you need in order to have the capacity to trade and participate in the market, and then your investment of time. And the time is something that, this was Erin's brainstorm. She said, you know, well, what if people don't want to trade 7 to 4? What if people don't want to trade 9:30 to noon? What if I'm somebody who wants to trade, or I can only trade from, say, 8 to 10? All right, well, we built this, meaning Erin, built this really cool feature in this, and we can provide this information for you any day in the live trading room. We could tell you that if you trade from, say, 8 to 10, I don't know what the result will be here, but we're going to find out. We can tell you that, well, based on 87 trading days behind us, your average performance could be somewhere around $350 a day per contract, right? So if you're trading one contract, 350, two contracts, 700, et cetera, whatever it might be. But what we can do is help you isolate what your performance could possibly be, what a reasonable expectation is, based on the time frame that you have available or your desired time frame to trade. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what if I traded from 7 to 9? Because they have something to do, and they're not available after that. Oh, well, there's $467 a day on an average, and you can expect maybe around 17 losing days out of 87 days. You can expect about 7 to 8 trades on an average a day during that 2-hour window. And you can expect roughly a 72% win rate. Now, these numbers will change and evolve as we add more data to the spreadsheet, to our database, but here's the deal. you have a reasonable starting point for an expectation of what your performance could look like. And if you're hitting that performance level, fantastic. If you're not, in the live trading room, we can help you understand a little bit more about how to hit that, or what adjustments you might need to make. And don't forget too, you're going to have losing days, 17 losing days. If you happen to start your very first trading day as a day that's a loss, you just got to stay the course and work through it, because you know what the averages are showing you. And if the averages change, you're going to see that here every single day at the end of the day in this review. So I appreciate having the privilege and opportunity to trade along with so many of you. And I appreciate Michael and Aaron, who are so committed to helping each of you learn, and those of you who participate here every day in the live trading room. Thank you for being here. And those of you who might be listening to this and are not yet acquainted with who we are, certainly check us out. You can find more information at optionsmoneymaker.com, and we'd be happy to guide you to setting up your own personal trading business.